Brave Maker Show is hosted by Tony Gappistone and Kristina Jackson. Thanks for tuning in. It's showtime.
It's showtime, y'all. Hello, my name is Tony Gappistone. My pronouns are he, him, his. I'm an actor. I'm a screenwriter and director in Redwood City, California, where I am live here in my studio. Caucasian guy wearing some glasses. I'm wearing a black trucker hat today in a background that says Brave Maker. And I'm always with my friend and collaborator and producer of my next feature film, the wonderful, the beautiful, the cool Kristina Ray Jackson. Welcome, Kristina.
Hey, what's going on, Tony? Thank you. What's going on? I'm Kristina Ray Jackson, coming to you from my Dublin, California studio, and I'm an African-American woman rocking some blonde locks today and doing the cosplay mashup, of course. This is Venom, which is like one of my new favorite movies. I haven't seen the new one yet, so no spoilers. So this is a Venom meets Golden Lords from Meteor Man. If you're familiar, that's the mashup. I'm wearing a gold chain that says POW, and I got a green background with some pink butterflies, and I'm excited for today's show. I'm in my favorite power chair by Will. That's the Will Model C.
You're looking butterfly today, Kristina.
Love it. Thank
it's
you.
It's good. We are both happy Pride, by the way.
Yes, thank you. Happy
June
Pride,
1st.
everyone.
Happy birthday month to us. Happy birthday month to us.
Brave Maker,
happy birthday
me
month
and Tony.
So
Happy
Kristina and
birthday.
I were both born in this month. Our organization was born in this month. And we're
That's
both
right.
going to be doing some traveling in this month.
We
to
are.
rest and relax before the wonderful, beautiful, creative chaos of the film festival.
Yeah.
Before we do, our special guests today are a part of the film festival. Before we bring them on, Kristina, I want to know, how are you braving your way toward your creative goals?
I did something so wild this Memorial weekend. For the first time, I was in a musical. So I was in the Wish Upon a Star Peter Pan Foundation benefit musical for Children's Hospital of Oakland, and I played Princess Tiana, and my partner played Prince Naveen, and we had the time of our lives. Definitely want to do it again. It was so terrifying, but also so exhilarating. And in the spirit of film festivals, I took on a new role. Very exciting. I am the new film festival director for Afro Comic Con, and we had our first meeting Monday, and that's how I'm braving my way. And all that stuff is like so terrifying and exhilarating. And I love it. I feel like Geminis were never satisfied unless we are like flying by the seat of our pants. And that's how I feel.
Honestly, seriously, I wear a lot of hats. You're wearing a lot of hats, and I love it.
Yes.
I'm here for it. I'm here. She texted me when she got this job. I was like, there's like no other king or queen of the Afro Comic Con other than Kristina Ray Jackson, #KRay cosplay. So way to go, Kristina. I'm proud of you.
Thank you. And Tony, how are you braving your way this week?
Okay, I'm working on, so I've got so many cool, exciting things. My film is in the Pasadena Film Fest at the end of June, and then I'm going to Chicago for another film fest in July.
No way.
Yes, and then I have an interview with a rep for my screenwriting work on June 6th. So send some prayer and good vibes out for me.
Absolutely.
I've been working toward getting some more representation. And then finally, I'm working on a new pilot. And I am 7 pages away from finishing it. I want to finish this pilot. I need to add more examples of my screenwriting work. And hopefully I'll have that done by, let's say, by Friday. You can keep me accountable. Text me when you're in New York if I got it done.
For sure. Way to get all those balls up in the air and plates spinning and That's exciting stuff, Tony. I might
Feels
be in
good.
Chicago in July too.
What?
You never know. So we'll see. We'll see.
Okay,
If
July 20th. I know when the film is screening. So if you're there, oh my gosh, that would be amazing. Is
Let's
that
talk
possible?
after the show.
Okay,
Yeah.
we're talking after the show. Kristina and I are trying to make a short film too.
Yes,
Y'all,
we
there's
are.
too many plates, but they're good plates. Let's spin them. Let's
Yes.
spin them. Let's spin them. Follow
Yeah,
us at
yeah,
Kristina
yeah.
Ray Jackson. Follow me at Tony Gapasone. Let's bring in our special guest.
Yes.
We are a 501c3 nonprofit. Brave Maker is all about your support so that we can invite special, cool, creative people like we have today. Our opening night film, July 7th. Tickets are already on sale. We're in the biggest theater in Redwood City, the iconic Fox Theater. It's huge, y'all, ginormous. We're going to have a DJ. We're going to have a LGBTQ art show. Why? Because we're celebrating a film called Mama Bears. And the director of that film is here with us today. Welcome, Daresha Kyi.
Welcome.
Hi. Hello. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Daresha, for all of our listening guests or our listening audience, would you give a visual introduction to yourself? Share your pronouns and where you're zooming in, live streaming in from today.
I am zooming in from Atlanta, Georgia. I am an African-American woman with long, dark locks, red lipstick, and a purple dress. I am in my living room / kitchen. So you can see the kitchen behind me. And then there's a staircase over my left shoulder that goes up to the second level of my house. And yeah, I think I'm kind of cute.
You are. And you are a fantastic filmmaker, which we're going to hear all about. But Kristina likes to start us off with a very special question.
Yeah, absolutely. We're comic book fans here and storytellers. So we'd love to hear your origin story, Daresha. Where were you born and raised? And how has your journey uniquely prepared you for the work you're doing today?
I was born in Los Angeles, California, but we moved back to my mom's hometown, Dayton, Ohio, when I was about 9 months old. So I grew up in Dayton, but I didn't really grow up because I feel like I left at 18 to go to college, and I don't think you're grown at 18.
Right.
So I feel like I really grew up in New York City, in Brooklyn, because that's where I moved.
Ooh.
Right. That's where I became an adult. Right. And in terms of storytelling and how I got to where I am and what prepared me, I was always that kid running her mouth, telling stories. Straight A student, but always in trouble for running my mouth because I just love telling people what happened and then what happened and then and girl, you ain't gonna believe what happened. So
honing those skills.
Right. So and then I was an actress in grade school, all through grade school, high school, and first went to college to study acting. And then discovered documentary and narrative filmmaking. I mean, when I say discovered, I mean, what I discovered is that there were people who were actually making a living doing it, right? People that I knew, as opposed to someplace off in Hollywood or, some other place. Because when I was growing up, it was not as easy to make a film as it is now, because we were still working in 16 millimeter or 35 millimeter, depending on how much money you had. But anyway, so I found out I could make my own movies and star in them. So that was my thing. I was going to write, produce, and direct and star in my own movies. And I did that. And that was great. And then I got into producing television, all kinds of television.
You have an impressive resume, by the way.
Very impressive.
Thank you. And then I started making documentaries, and I haven't looked back.
Yeah.
There's one.
Go ahead,
Kristina. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I'm always curious about actors and filmmakers. How do you make the decision to be in front of the camera, behind the camera? Where do you have the most joy?
I love it all.
You love it all. Okay.
I love it all.
I love
like
that
for
answer.
me, I just came to the realization. I was talking to someone about my next film, and he was telling me that he thought I should expand it to something that. And I was like, well, what I realized after that conversation is that not only are the films that I make character driven, I'm character driven. That's what brings me to a story, is a person that I am fascinated by, that I love them. I love who they are. I love what they represent. I love what they're doing. And so that kind of passion is what brings me to telling stories, right? I find people that I find, I like to call them badasses. Like, I like badasses. I like people who are game changers, who, like, when they leave, nothing's the same, right?
Yes.
So So yeah, that's what drives my storytelling, I think.
Well, you chose a bunch of badasses for this
Yeah.
current feature film called Mama Bears. Really, really moving documentary, something that's really important to me as a person of faith that has also been a part of a culture and an institution that wasn't welcoming to LGBT people. And as a person in leadership, I had to wrestle with where was I going to stand on this really important issue in history. And I think your tagline is something like choosing children over church. And I love that. And the people that are featured in this documentary are truly change makers. They're truly people who, like you said, like they're characters who are driving their story and driving a narrative in the world. I want to show a clip, and then we're going to bring one of these featured stories onto the show today. But let's watch a clip from Mama Bears.
I can remember being younger and being around my girl cousins and them being into the Barbies and the hair, and they wanted to do the fake nails. And they had all the posters on their walls of the newest boy groups. And me, I had posters of Queen Latifah and Nia Long and Angela Bassett. Like, it wasn't till later down the line, I was like, oh no, that was attraction. Like, I was crushing on them. But in the culture that I grew up in, if you were gay, it meant that you were not a Christian and you lived this lifestyle outside of the church, outside of relationship with God, because it was an abomination. When I started to understand what was happening in me, it wasn't something that I could go to my family about. So I went to the only place I knew I could take it, and that was to God. I would just pray, God, take it away. God, fix it. God, come on, help me out here.
Let's welcome to the show, Tammy Terrell Morris. Welcome, Tammy.
Welcome, Tammy.
Hey, everybody. Thank you for having me. Happy to be here.
We're going to have you or invite you to do your visible description if you'd like for our listening audience.
For sure. Well, my name is Tammy Terrell Morris, and I use pronouns she, her. I am a beautiful Black woman who has long Black locks. Currently rocking a Black, little backward style hat on my head with it's actually a Pride line t-shirt. Rocking it for today's first day of Pride. It's blue. Got a couple of different funky colors on there, black, purple, giving a little bit of the rainbow vibe. So that's me.
Love it. All right, Tammy, welcome to the show and happy Pride. And we're going to ask our questions for you now. Please tell us your origin story. Where were you born and raised? How has your journey uniquely prepared you for the work you're doing today and the stories you're sharing with us today?
Man, well, I was born and raised in Pomona, California. I'm a Cali girl all the way. Still currently residing in California, in the Chino Hills area. My origin story, you know what? It's funny how life works.
Mm-hmm,
yes. My origin was I was somebody who found myself to be same-sex attracted, and kind of how the documentary talked about as a young girl trying to navigate those waters, understanding what that looks like in my community and in my family. And it led me on this journey of just looking for answers. At the time, the questions that I had to ask, the church wasn't open to answering those questions. And so I started to look outside of my local church community. And it led me to some activist groups that actually led me right back into a church community that was doing the work in the LGBT community and working on inclusion. And that led me to know who the Mama Bears were, and just me posting a thank you message on the Mama Bears Facebook page led me to the beautiful Miss Daresha Kyi. And me and her began to talk and get to know each other. And somehow I ended up in this documentary.
I love it.
But it's been a fun ride, and I'm so happy to be here.
So those of you who might not have heard of that phrase, Mama Bears, what a cool I just love the phrase. It elicits obviously a sense of protection and defending young, a big mama bear taking those big furry arms around their child to make sure nothing happens. And this is the name that has been given to a group of parents who say we choose to reject the idea, the theology, the philosophies, the commandments that anybody would say my LGBTQ plus child is an abomination, is not accepted, is not made in the image of God, is not loved and equally valued as any other person, no matter what their sexuality. And what started as a group of moms has blossomed into thousands of people in social media who encourage one another, who support each other, and who show up to pride parades and hold up signs, free mom hugs, free dad hugs. Also things like, I'm sorry for the way the church treated you. I'm sorry. They do apologies on behalf of harmful things that were said and done. One of my favorite things, Sarah Cunningham has sort of been known as sort of the patron saint. She didn't start it, but she's documented in this film that will be screened in Redwood City on July 7th. The idea that she's a surrogate parent. She steps in weddings for LGBT couples who have been somehow rejected by their family of origin for saying, I'm your chosen family. And she began doing this and, saying basically publicly, if you need a mom, I'm here for you. And she kind of went viral, I guess, in that way because of her love. Yeah. Daresha, can you talk a little bit about how the origin of this film came to be for you? Why did you need to tell this story, as you said in your words, about these badass characters?
I came to the story through the Huffington Post, reading the Huffington Post about an article about Kimberly and Kai Shapley and their fight for Kai to use the girls' bathroom. And Kimberly just mentioned in the article that the way she had found their support to go from being a Tea Party Republican to winning an award as LGBTQ Activist of the Year was through the support of the Mama Bears. And she said that there were 2,000 moms in the group. That was 2017. There are now over 32,000 moms in that in those groups. So in that time, Sarah's gone viral twice. There was a movie that came out called, was it called Boy Interrupted? No, what was it called? Boy Erased. Boy Erased.
Oh, yes.
That was about a mama bear. That the woman that Nicole Kidman is playing is actually a mama bear. So that also made the mama bears go viral, and they've just they are a movement. So I read that article, and as soon as I saw that number 2,000, I thought, wow, I know people who'd be fascinated to know about who are these women? Because at the moment you see that these people could go from one extreme to the other extreme, it's that's a hell of a journey. That's a hell of a journey. And I know that that's not an easy journey. That's not an easy path to transform everything you believed, everything you were taught, everything you knew, just to jettison that and start from scratch. Most people are not willing to make that kind of change in their lives, And I know that requires some deep soul searching, like dark nights of the soul type stuff, right? And so I was very intrigued from the moment I learned that they existed. I was intrigued by them. And then I reached out to Liz Dyer, who runs one of the Mama Bears groups. And she connected me to the group and said, send an email. And if the moms want to participate, they'll respond. And 25 moms responded.
Wow.
So I was like, well, this story wants to be told.
Yes.
Right. So then I knew I was making a movie. Because the people wanted the movie, the story to be told, right? Yeah. So.
We have a clip from the movie that also depicts some of these moms in conversation. Let's take a watch.
We're working together to make the world a kinder, safer place for our children.
I think what we're discovering too is the church is not just that building, it's not just that denomination, but the church is wherever we make it. One of the main message of the Mama Bears that we try to get out there is you are not alone. You're not alone. Yeah. The journey is completely different when you walk it by yourself and you walk it with this community of Mama Bears. Yes.
When I first joined the group, there were 250 moms there. And I remember one time a mother, she said, I just heard the words, Mom, I'm gay. And I don't even know how to pray anymore. I don't even know how to breathe. And then all the moms chime in. All 250 of them chime in and say, then you don't. You let us breathe and you let us pray for you. And that was my first picture of community and knowing that you're not alone and just a wellspring of support.
Daresha, I just love this film so much. I want to send a shout out to my own mama bear, whose name is also Kimberly. So thank you. She's been wrapping her arms around me since I came out at 16. And what I also love about this film is that it is sharing an incredibly powerful movement, a love first movement. So talk to me a little bit about how you approach telling this story.
Well, before we do that, let me just say thank you, Kimberly, for loving on your daughter. And we need you to join the Mama Bears movement officially. Because you know what I find with Black families is often our parents will support us quietly, privately. But these days, we need people to step up. We need people to openly speak out and say, listen, these laws you're passing are not acceptable. These things that you're doing are not acceptable. These attacks that you're making, this is my child. You know what I mean? We need more Black and brown Mama Bears. Because while I was making the film, there were maybe 5 to 10%.
That's a call to action.
That's what I'm issuing. I'm issuing a call to action. Yes. That's why I want to start with your mom.
Yep. All right, Mom. You heard it. I know she's watching.
Good. Hi, Kimberly. So storytelling, how I approached it. I'm basically like, meet people, ask them about their story, and then you learn a lot about someone when you have a conversation with them, right? So I pre-interview everyone I'm interested in working with. And in that pre-interview, I asked them to outline, the big strokes of what your journey has been and who you are. And from that, I learned how articulate they are. I learned whether they're a good storyteller or not. I learned if they're someone that is highly empathetic, right? Someone that people will identify with. And then I also get a sense of what their journey has been like, what their story will be that I'm going to try to help tell. And once I have that, then I can decide, well, who are the people I'm going to focus on, right? And what are the stories that I want to be told? So I started with Sarah Cunningham, because when I reached out to Liz, who is the woman with the short hair speaking in the clip that you just showed, when I reached out to her, she said, she connected me with the other moms, but then she also said, and Sarah Cunningham, this mom that you should know about, is coming to New York. And I was living in New York at the time. She's coming to New York on the first Free Mom Hugs tour. Well, that was a no-brainer. Of course, I'm going to shoot with her. So I called her up, did the pre-interviews, found out what their schedule was, where they were going to be, and we decided our first shoot with them was at this place called the Home for Hope, which is a shelter for the LGBTQ community in Philadelphia. So we drove to Philly, we shot there, and then we met them the next day. They were ending the tour at the Stonewall Inn, and we got to shoot Sarah hugging people at Stonewall Inn, which was just amazing. And so that's how I found Sarah. And then I found Kimberly through that article, but originally I wasn't going to include her in the film because I felt like they'd had a lot of exposure. But then the ACLU put out a call for a series on transgender rights, and their story was perfect for it. So I pitched it, they commissioned the film, I made that film, and then they gave me the footage, the raw footage, to use in my feature. And so that's how Kimberly and Kai got into the film, because like I said, had thought, well, they'd been on a Vice show, they'd done a lot of press. So I thought, well, their story's been told. No, it actually it hadn't been told by me. So that's how I found them. And then Tammy posted. So from the beginning of the journey, I was looking for a Black mom, because I wasn't going to make a movie that was only going to be about white women, like Black people need to be talking about this, right? I'm a Black woman. I need to speak to my people. So I was looking for a Black woman, a Black mom from the beginning. So Tammy posted in the Mama Bears group, and I was like, a Black mom. I reached out. I was so excited. And then we started talking. She told me her story. I was like, well, that's a great story. What about your mom? Let's talk about your mom, right? And that's a whole conversation in and of itself, our journey with Tammy's mom. So I'll let her address that if that's something y'all want to talk about.
Before Tammy, now we want you all to know, watching, Tammy is going to be with us in person in July.
So ready.
She's
Let's
going to be
go.
Ready,
she's
yeah.
going to be with us all 4 days with her fiance, and obviously all the story is there. So you got to tease a little bit, Tammy. We can't tell everything because they got to watch the documentary. So good luck with that. What do you want to share?
I know, I'm like, I don't want to give any good parts away, but I will say, for those who have seen the film, I mean, you can see that it's a story of evolution. It's a story of blossoming from these individuals who are choosing to say, I want to root myself in love. And that's my mom's story. You'll see her kind of go through the ups and downs that people will have on this journey. And that was her own personal reflection of where she's at. And I'll just say we are doing really good right now, like really, really good. Anything is possible, you guys. Anything. If you really sit down to just communicate how you feel and do it in love, I think we can change a lot of minds and hearts. So I'll leave it at that because I don't want to give out too much.
I just got some chills. I just got some chills.
Love that.
That's our hope, right? Changing hearts and minds. Beautiful.
Can I tell you a story?
Yes, please.
We screened the film in Seattle, and Linda Robertson, who is at the heart of the Mama Bear movement, she's the woman who lost her son and started the first group to support parents like her so they wouldn't have to go through what she went through, right? She's works with Christians, and she brought a mom with her to the screening, and the mom was an elderly woman who basically said, I'm an evangelical Christian, and I've been struggling to accept my non-binary grandchild, and now that I've seen this film, I understand that I have to become a mama bear.
That's right. That's right. I have a question for both of you. What do you think we can do in the Black and Brown communities to help overcome that barrier, that obstacle that, can come in between kids and their parents?
I think one of the first things is letting people know they're not alone. Because I can't tell you how many times I heard that. I mean, Tammy, you said it, right? You thought you were the only gay Christian, right?
Right. Especially gay Black Christian. I thought I was the only one sitting up in the Church of God in Christ, crushing on the pastor's daughter.
Yes, and you were not. Yeah, your story resonated with me so deeply. There were so many similarities. So definitely we are not the only ones. So, more visibility, more representation, definitely. But I'd love to know, your thoughts on how do we bring more the Black community into the fold, into the Mama Bear fold, into the LGBTQ support and celebration, into this movement?
Well, I can't talk too much about it right now, but we do have a special event coming up where we're going to get some help elevating that idea, elevating the conversation, right? Because really it's about talking. Like this has kind of been a taboo subject within the Black community and the and brown communities and white communities, right?
Right.
But specifically talking about people of color, like we have a history of, within a lot of Black and brown communities, of accepting our LGBTQ members on the down low, right? Like everybody knows that a lot of times the choir director is gay. They just ignore it, right? But we need more than that, right? We don't need you to passively accept us,
right?
Or passively pretend like you don't know who we really are, or to deny who we really are, right?
So destructive, yeah.
Right. We need your love and support and full inclusion and acceptance. So it's going to require like getting in the press and talking to people and provoking conversations and, have taking the movie out to churches and to Black churches, you know what I mean? And having those hard talks with people and loving, having hard but loving talks, To that end, we are studying nonviolent communication, me, Tammy, and some of the other participants and my producer, so that we can have fruitful conversations with people.
And I would also add to that, just for the members of the LGBT community who are of color, to continue to show up and be proud, be bold, be loud, like be you, because your joy is resistance. Your joy is showing the world, hey, maybe there's not something wrong with this, because they've been taught the opposite. So just by being you are the change that we need to see. And show up in your family, show up in that conversation. Say, hey, I'm here, I got an opinion, and we're going to stop being silent. And that itself is going to bring the conversation to the base. And once we do it in love, anything can happen. So,
yes.
Yeah.
And tell your parents about the mama bears and the papa bears, that there's support out there. They don't have to do it alone. There are like-minded people who've been through the same struggle, who can help them, and one of the things I'd like to see happen is that, within the mama bear groups, there are subgroups. So, a lot of Black people don't feel comfortable sharing stuff with white people. So form your own group within the group, right? Talk to each other. You can do that. Join the Mama Bears group and then start another group that's just like for people of color, if that's what you need to do, but just get the conversation going.
Yes.
Well, I love this film, truly do. And I have been doing my own outreach, as the executive director, I have to wear many hats, fundraising, programming, but I'm like literally calling churches up and saying, you need to come see this movie. I am inviting individuals by name personally, because I believe the conversation can change a life. And I really mean that, change life by saving a life.
Yes.
Y'all, those of you who know me and Brave Maker, we're passionate about being allies and about elevating brave stories for justice, diversity, and inclusion. And part of that is recognizing that if we don't, we are allowing people to believe that they're not valuable in society, and people are taking their lives, and this should not happen. We should not be seeing people take their lives for how they are made, for who they are. So if you can take a risk, if you're someone watching this, maybe someone sent you this YouTube link because you have come from a church like Tammy and others who have told you a certain thing about you, your kid, your friend, your neighbor, or an LGBT person that you don't even have a relationship with yet, I want to challenge you to come July 7th to the Redwood City Fox Theater and watch this movie. And our whole goal for these 4 days is to show these brave films, where you get to meet people, the makers of it, the featured participants of it, and then talk. There's so many great restaurants in Redwood City. We're gonna in a good way put Redwood City on blast. Go to all these places, eat some good food, talk, cry, laugh. There's so many good stories to be told, and these stories can change your life. And we want people to live and to live as they are and who they are. So July 7th. Daresha, this film, we wish you could be in person with us. We know you're busy, but we're grateful. Tammy's going to be with us, and we're going to have a bunch of other cool people on the panel. Kristina will be there. I will be there. My friend Matt Nightingale from Common Sanctuary, which is an organization that is dedicated to help churches and individuals have healthy conversations about sexuality. Churches should be talking about sexuality in healthy ways and being open to being wrong about how we viewed it in the past. So before we move into our next section, we're going to do our Brave Faves. We have Marcus, who's our resident critic, going to come on. Is there any final things that you learned? I would like to kind of put it on you, Daresha, as a filmmaker, but then Tammy, about yourself as a person. Like, obviously your identity was one thing, coming to grips with that and your faith, but you had to be vulnerable, like a camera on you and exposing your story. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if there are any takeaways. So take a minute to think about that. But Daresha, chat about what you learned as a filmmaker doing this, because we have people who want to make documentaries. What are some tips, tricks, things that you learned that you're taking to your next film?
Well, so as a human being, I learned that growth and evolution is a process that's never straightforward, that sometimes people go backwards, sideways, upside down, sit down, don't move at all, right? It's not a straightforward journey. I learned that from someone who is LGBTQ, who said, it took me years to come to terms with my sexuality. Why would I expect my mom to come to terms with it overnight? And I thought, bing, brilliant, right? In terms of filmmaking, this was my first multi-character documentary. I'd made films that were about, one person, but the interweaving of stories was a challenge, and that was fun. And I'm going to take that skill. So one of the things we did is to map out each character's journey as a separate little film, and then look at them and connect them and see where there was overlap, where there was redundancy, where there were connections that we could make between them. Who told which aspect of, because some of the storylines the same for every family, So it was figuring out, well, who told it best, right? And focusing in on that. So that was a good strategy for multi-character documentary filmmaking.
So making little short films of each story and then finding out how to weave it. That's really good.
Right. Looking at each character's arc and making sure they had a beginning, a middle, and end, that they had, that you could see that transformation. Oh, and one thing that was really important, although, I've only gotten this criticism once, but I'll leave that alone. Anyway. But that is that it was important to me for you to see the remorse that the moms felt for their previous behavior, right?
Yeah.
That they expressed it repeatedly, right? But it was very important to me. Like, there's a moment where Kimberly apologizes to the LGBTQ community, right? And you can tell it's just from the heart, crying, it's so sincere, Like, those moments for me are really important because that's what's healing.
Yes.
That's what bridges the gap, right? For the viewer. That's what allows people to go like, oh, and take off a whole bunch of crap that has been piled on them in an instant, right? Because that mom is representative of all moms in that moment that you're watching a movie, right? And even if your own mom doesn't say, I'm sorry for the way I treated you, blah, 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 at least somebody is, right? At least there are moms and she's like your mom, right? So it gives people hope.
That's great.
Yeah.
I once heard somebody say that God will never hurt us, right? God will never harm us, but sometimes God's people cause a lot of destruction. And one of the things that God, again, however you view God, one of the things that God might say to us is, I'm sorry for the way my people treated you. And that, that really opened up a world of healing for me in my own issues. So I appreciate that you're surfacing forgiveness and reconciliation, healing in your film. Really well done. Tammy, what about you? What's something you learned about yourself in this whole process?
You know what? It's still a journey. I will say that I feel immensely blessed to be able to see my life on screen in a way that a lot of people don't get to see, because in this process, I've been able to find that self-love, that self-confidence, by looking at Tammy at that time, because that's what Daresha caught. She caught a glimpse of Tammy, who was going through a certain situation at that time, and she did it so beautifully that I look back on it and I'm proud. Like, when you guys show the clip, I think back on those times, and although it was very painful, there's a pride that comes up in me now because it says, look where you are.
Yeah.
Look how far you've come. And I'm able to stand proudly in that. And so it helps me to kind of zoom out on my life a little bit, to not take everything so serious, to not think, oh, this is all about right now and I got to hold on to it, but to find my place of surrender and release, and to just let life be and observe the beauty in it. There's a story every day. There's a miracle every day if I look for it. And so I definitely take that away from this experience, and it's been life-changing. So
Thank you, Tammy, for doing that. I know that was an undertaking, to get in front of the camera and to share such a personal side of your life with all of us. But it has created, I'll speak just for myself, so much healing and so much peace and celebration, because we do come so far, and it's wonderful to take a beat to see, wow, look where we are, look how far we're coming. So thank you for your story.
Thank you.
Again, Tammy will be with us July 7th through the 10th. She will be on the panel discussion on the stage in the Fox Theater for the premiere of Mama Bears. Do not miss it. Redwood City, the Brave Maker Film Fest, and stand by for a little clip of what to expect. I'm so excited to have this film festival in Redwood City, California. Come join. There's limited tickets, y'all. So just get your tickets. Don't wait. Don't sleep on it. Get those tickets. We're excited. July 7th.
Back in person.
That's right. Everything's in person. We will have online opportunities too, but meet us in person. So many cool people. All right. Well, we always end the show with one of our favorite things. We call it our Brave Fave, but we also have our guest, Marcus Robinson, on the show today. He texted me that his Wi-Fi might be a little laggy, but we're going to see if we can get a 2-minute movie review from Marcus. So stand by. Marcus, what do you got for us?
Hey, am I lagging bad? How bad am I? Okay, I'm
You're a little laggy, but go for it. Give us the 2 minutes. What do you got?
Okay. So I saw Top Gun Maverick. If you've seen Top Gun, it's Tom Cruise. He plays Maverick. He's older now. He has to come back to Top Gun to train a bunch of pilots on a bunch of young hotshot pilots on a mission that seems like undoable. That's basically the premise of this sequel. So before this movie begins, Tom Cruise literally comes on screen and tells us everything we're about to see is real. There's probably 2 reasons you're going to go see this movie in the first place. 1, the visuals, the stunts, or 2, the nostalgia factor. So for the first part, for the stunts, they all hit. Some of these stunts, I felt like Tom's life was in danger. So kudos to the director and the film crew, the crew, for making that happen. And as for the nostalgia factor, I feel that this is a film that really, really works for the first hour and a half of this movie on this nostalgia factor. There are sequences that really pay visual homage to the original '86 Top Gun, and they really, really work to have the same kind of '80s nostalgia, dramatic camp format where everybody talks in one-liners, and it's a bunch of kind of like bros kind of broing around. Now, with that said, it may take, if you're younger or you've never seen Top Gun, or you're not used to kind of 80s camp drama, this may take a little bit for you to get into, because it may just seem really awkward how they're speaking to each other, or it may just seem really awkward that these one-liners aren't played for laughs. But if you're into it, you're really going to be into this movie. And to top it all off, this one really solidifies Tom Cruise as still the same kind of star, still the same kind of box office draw. And while Top Gun Maverick has its flaws, if the point of the movie is to pay homage to this kind of like 80s nostalgia and to give us kind of wow factor visuals, where there's a lot of them, then Top Gun Maverick really delivers, and I do recommend it.
Yay, and that's our 2 minutes with Movies Marcus.
Right.
Thanks,
Thank
Marcus.
you, Marcus.
We got you, dude. That was
right.
awesome. Go check out Movies Marcus. We'll see you next time, Marcus. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.
All right. We always end our show with our favorite thing of the week. So if you don't have something, you got 30 seconds to figure out what are you going to recommend. 30 seconds. Here we go.
Brave Faves. TV shows, films, books, songs, technology, clothing, podcast, food, and more. These are a few of our favorite people, places, and things. Brave Faves.
All right, happy Pride Month. One of my Brave Faves, I have 2 today, is my favorite Pride Month movie, which is Holiday Heart. If you've never seen it, race online and find it and watch this movie. It stars 2 legendary Black actors, Alfre Woodard, and Ving Rhames. He plays a phenomenal drag queen who comes face to face with his toughest act ever, fatherhood. Oh my gosh, this movie is such a joy and a pleasure to watch with your loved ones. This is a family film. And yeah, this is my Brave Fave for the week. And my second, which is in the theme of Mama Bears. This is a movie. Actually, this is on HBO Max. Brene Brown, who is one of our favorite people. Tony and I talk about her all the time, quote her all the time. And she has a series called Atlas of the Heart. So if you were looking for a deeper connection with yourself, with the people around you, you are going to absolutely love. I think it's a 4-part series. I am on episode 3. It is phenomenal. It is a journey to go deeper into yourself, to see who you are and what you're about and what you want to be about, and really learn the language to express your feelings and emotions about how you're feeling and with other people. And I feel like language and communication is really the key to overcoming a lot of our obstacles, being able to just express what we're going through in a way that other people can empathize and understand and respect us. So yes, check that out over on HBO Max. And Tony, I'll throw it over to you. What's your Brave Fave?
Good one. Mine is Severance. So this had the season finale a couple weeks ago. It was definitely in the zeitgeist. People were buzzing around this Ben Stiller directed series, and I really loved it. It kind of started off slow. Don't watch it if you're tired. I watched it at nighttime at 10 o'clock at night, and I dozed off a few times and kept seeing everyone chatting about how amazing it was. I was like, really? It just seems slow. But then I got into it. It really messes with your mind, and I think it raises a lot of questions about our whole idea of work-life balance and what does it look like to be a complex human being. Sometimes we want to have compartments, but are those compartments really healthy for us? So recommend it. Beautifully shot, really cool acted. It's already got a season 2 green light. That's on Apple TV. That's my Brave Fave. What about you, Tammy? What's your favorite thing of the week? Could be anything.
You know what? I'm going to have to say it's the app called Insight Timer. I love this app because it has all kinds of meditations, all types of just storytelling, just anything that just calms you down and puts you back in your body, lets you take a minute to breathe, something that I use on a daily basis. So that would be that's mine for this week.
And it's called Insight Timer.
Insight Timer.
Awesome. Okay, cool. Thank you for that. Daresha, what you got?
First of all, Kristina, can you tell me the name of that first movie with Ving Rhames again?
Oh my gosh, Holiday Heart.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, you're welcome.
No, I have that on my list. So I'm really digging this book. Let's see. Oh, I think I have to unblur, or maybe if I put it by my face.
On your face.
It's blurry.
Well, so much for that. It's called Nonviolent Communication by.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. Tammy has it.
Rosenberg.
Okay.
Thank you, Tammy. I'm really digging it because, like what you were saying, Kristina, it really goes deeply into language and how we use language that distances people, or makes people defensive, or language that brings people in and helps people to understand what they need and get their needs met. Right. It's a different way of thinking, and it's really made me look at my communication skills in a different way. And it's helping me, up my game, my communication game.
Yeah, that's key for storytelling. I love it.
Yeah, well, especially as we're looking at going out and like talking to hundreds of people, like you want to have real, helpful conversations, not get into shouting matches. So,
right.
No, I 100%. As you do all these panel discussions, I'm sure you have there's always one person who might be carrying a lot of stuff, and they can come out in the middle of an audience, either privately or in front of everybody. And so having some real tools, practical tools to navigate that is huge. So that's a good one.
As we say, they could come out their face.
Yeah, Kristina and I in teams and filmmaking, it's everywhere, right?
Yeah.
Well, this is so good. Don't go away, y'all. Hey, thank you so much, everybody, for watching. for being a part of this Brave Maker community. We have, Kristina and I have almost 150 of these podcast episodes that we've done. We truly are grateful for the work that you all support. We have corporate sponsors and individual donors who basically are generous and in every way to enable us to do this work with our rent, with our equipment, with the film festival. Huge thank you to Prince Street Partners, a real estate and development company that is our presenting sponsor, as well as the Chan Zuckerberg Initiative and other organizations that have helped us to bring out filmmakers, put them up in hotels, rent venues, provide food, and have these type of experiences where we can show films and talk about them. And we really, please come be a part of this film festival. Come meet people like Tammy. Kristina and I will be there all 4 days, talking it up, drinking coffee, laughing, dancing at the parties and the afterward.
Yeah,
we
live
actually
music.
That's right. We have a signature drink available called the Brave Maker at Nighthawk and Blacksmith, two of the local pubs downstairs. And we are making sure that everything is fully ADA accessible. So if you are a wheelchair user, we are thinking about you and intending to make sure we have ramps and things like that, because it's important that we do that. So thank you to our donors that help make that possible. Kristina,
sorry I won't be there.
Oh, we'll miss you. We'll miss you. Maybe we'll FaceTime you in at least one
Yeah.
All right, I'm game.
Yeah, so we have to thank our amazing team behind the scenes. Amy Cohen, our live show producer from Austin, Texas. Carrie Alley, our social media manager. Barnell Amos, our podcast editor. They're both out of Grand Rapids, Michigan. Emerson Morley, our Bay Area intern. And intern Sarah Agolia, who will be joining us for our film festival this summer.
Next week, Kristina is going to be in New York City, but
Yes.
I am going to be hosting Dan Mervish, who is the founder of the Slam Dance Film Festival. We are trying to find a date, but we're going to be talking about all things film festival, meaning what do you do at a film festival if you've never been, how to navigate one, how to stay hydrated, but also if you have a film that's playing at a film festival, how to maximize those connections and really build those relationships. So thank you to you both, Tammy and Daresha. If you want to follow the Mama Bears movement, go find them online. Go to mamabearsdoc.com. They're also on Instagram, and follow along, support, buy a ticket to the event. We want to see you there July 7th. Any other things you all want to say as a final send off, or where people can find you?
We also have a screening on our website, mamabearsdoc.com. We have all the screenings listed. So if you're watching this from someplace that's not near the festival, you can maybe find the film coming soon to a theater near you.
Awesome.
And you have so many screenings. So if you're somewhere in the country, there's somewhere near you that you could find, and we'll put that link also in the chat. But really, really cool that there's so many cool opportunities and film festivals out there that are welcoming you and selecting you. It means you have told a good and relevant cultural story.
Congratulations. This is awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, we've been in like over 25. We're going to be in it's a lot. It's great though. And we're going to have an impact campaign where we're going to roll it out to churches and community centers and stuff across the country.
That's great.
Soon.
I love it.
Yeah, soon. So look for that.
We are proud to host you, and please stay in touch for the future. Tammy will be hanging out with you, but Daresha, with your future films, please share. Tammy, anything else you want to say before we go?
Just happy to be here. This has been a blast.
Yeah. Awesome.
Well, don't go away. We want to take a picture with you. We'll screenshot the picture before we go. But Kristina and I always end by saying, brave stories change the world.
And you are the story. Bye, everybody.
Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook at bravemaker.org. Like, subscribe, and share. To become a monthly donor, text the word BraveMaker to 44321 or go to bravemaker.com/donate. Thanks for tuning in.